and welcome to AskPolymathGeddy, your polymathic source for all information, knowledge, and wisdom. I hope you're subscribing, I hope you're following, I hope you're clicking that little bell sign on the YouTube channel so that you can actually receive notifications for my videos. If not, please do so. We have a question from Isabel, way out in the land down under in Sydney, Australia. Her question is, how do you stop yourself from being too overly sensitive? Dalai Lama once said, we can often add to our own pain and suffering because of being too overly sensitive, overreacting to minor things and taking things personally. So how can I stop or at least reduce this about me? She also adds, simple things like my boss didn't smile at me today like she normally does. My colleagues seem to be avoiding talking to me. I hear them gossiping in the lunchroom. I think it's about me. I find my partner viewing things on a screen that I might not like. All things that make me go crazy or in a state of pain and overthinking. I can't help but to think that the reason people are doing this is because of me, like I've done something wrong. Okay, so this is really a question of how you see yourself and how you see the world and the relationship between the two. Allow me to help you with 5 points that will pretty much solve this problem for you for the rest of your life. Are you ready? I hope so. Take notes. You might learn something, and you might have something good to reference. First point is, realize that everything that you believe is a direct result of your own story, the story that you tell yourself, your own cognition, your own belief system, okay? Whether someone is doing something negative toward you or not, how you feel about that is determined by how you allow yourself to feel about that. There are people who offend me all the time. There are people who say nasty things, who are rude, who are threatening, and I mean, it escalates and escalates. I know what it's like to stand for something and have people attack you. And I also know what it's like to not even have to stand for something, just to even be there and be the indigent of someone else's negligence or disrespect or social irresponsibility. So, that considered, I understand what it means to be on the other side of someone's malpractice, to be on the other side, to be on the receiving end of somebody's ill will. And it's not necessarily about you, it's more so about them. Even if you do something that is meriting some type of negative response back to you, it is the negative people who allow themselves to stoop that low so as to do those things to you. So really it comes down to how other people are and how you see yourself. And basically, as long as you realize that what people do to you, good or bad, or what they say to you, good or bad, says more about them than it does you. As long as you realize that, you'll be fine. But if you think everything is about you, then you're living in kind of a narcissistic world. Everything is about me. Everyone who says something, it's always about me. But guess what? There are a lot of other me's in that room. And all these other me's could possibly be thinking the same thing about themselves as well. So then we have all these different people in the room all thinking everything's about them. That's not a good way to live in the world, is it? No, so try not to be that way. You know, even if people do have a reaction toward you that is different from how their reaction is toward other people, you have to realize that it's still how they perceive you and how you perceive them. It's not necessarily something that you can change all the time. Sometimes it's better to be who you are and to let other people judge that, because that's all they know how to do. Now, if you want to go to them, introduce yourself, you know, chop down some barriers between the two of you, and let them kind of know who you are so they're not feeling at odds, so that they know you're not a threat or anything, that's okay, that's cool. If you want to make amends, or if you want to have any type of diplomatic interaction between yourself and someone who you think might be on the other end of that transaction, that's fine. Nothing wrong with trying to build rapport between yourself and other people, but don't feel like you have to walk on eggshells to please everyone either. You know, you have to actually become exactly who you are meant to be and be true to that. And everyone else has to do the same for themselves. So the bottom line to that point is realize that this is greater than just you. This is about how other people react toward just people in general, and you can't live to please everyone. One day you'll have to realize that you're gonna have to stand up for what you believe in, and just screw it. Everyone's gonna have to just accept that. That's just how it's going to be, because no matter how good you are, no matter how many times you walk on your toes, no matter how many times you keep your mouth shut, Someone's going to say something negative about you. Someone's going to have something about you that they don't like, that they're going to voice, they're going to make a big deal out of. Everybody gets ostracized at some point. It's just the people who stand up most for who they are the ones who are targeted the most. Sometimes by far. So don't worry about that. Just be sure of who you are. Really consciously think of your values, because you are the consequence of your values. You are the summation of your character. So just get that in line. Don't worry about other people. Just focus on yourself, and just keep in mind and remember that what people say about you or do concerning you says more about them than it does about you. The next point is basically a follow-up to the first. However, it's also a question of how you are and how you want to be. And they may have the same problems with you that you have with them. You might be sitting on the other side of the room thinking, wow, this person's probably judging me. I think they're talking about me. While they're looking at you thinking, wow, this person's giving me dirty looks. Who do they think I am? Are they judging me? I wonder who else they're talking to behind my back about me. See what I'm saying? So this becomes like a mental issue at this point. It becomes like a psychological imbalance. You don't want to allow yourself to go down that path. You want to allow yourself to stop and say, wait a minute, I'm thinking way too much about this. Who cares what they think anyway? I have to focus on what I need to do. I know what's right. I know what's wrong. I'm not going to compromise. I'm going to do this, and here I am. So that's all. Don't worry about it. Just understand that other people are going to disagree with you at times, and that's just part of life. You have to accept that. The third point is something that you're not going to hear from anyone but me. And that is, imagine the worst case scenario of an interaction between yourself and someone else. Think of what you might do in such a situation so as to prep your mind to handle it psychologically. This in turn will train your body by training your mind to relinquish the fear of the unknown and to allow yourself to, at least in some form or another, prepare for the worst. What I mean by that is, if you walk into a room and you think someone is saying something negative about you or doing something negative about you, or they're not smiling because they don't like you that day or something, imagine them going further. Imagine them stopping, instead of not smiling, actually stopping in front of you, telling you off, calling you names, whatever else, threatening you, and walking out. Or imagine anything that could be even more negative than what you're getting now. That'll do two things. For one, it will put in contrast what they're doing in relation to what they could be doing, and you'll feel lucky for not having that bad of a situation on your hands. The second thing is it will actually prepare your mind for handling a situation should it escalate. So you're not having that fear of the unknown, and we have the subconscious fear of the unknown. That's the main thing. As long as we're familiar with something, we know how to anticipate it, and even if we don't like it, we know what we're going to do concerning it. So it's more like an inconvenience or a nuisance than it is something that scares us. You see? So just try to prep your mind for what could happen, and that way you'll overcome the fear of it. And then even if it does happen, you're like, great, now I have to solve this problem. Good thing I thought about this beforehand. This is what I'm going to do. So it's going to be a different method that you're going to take if you do take this path, and I think it's good for you. I think it's good for everyone. That doesn't mean dwell on it very much. Doesn't mean obsess over it. Doesn't mean wish it to be. It just means simply imagine worse scenarios than what you have, so that you can see in contrast how well you have it, and also so that you can prepare for the worst should it come to be. So that will relinquish your fear of the unknown, and then at that point, nothing can scare you because you're already mentally prepared for it. That's a good tip, and that's not something you're going to hear anywhere else, so write that down. The fourth point is, if you feel like you're being judged, or you feel like you're doing something wrong, or you're being disliked, to look further into yourself to realize why you have this guilt complex, because it's something deeper than merely what other people are doing. Because if it keeps coming up in situations, it's coming from you. It's not coming from the external world. So you have to look within yourself and ask yourself, why do I feel this constant tendency to judge myself? To feel like I'm the one who's being disliked or hated or judged or anything like that? Why do I feel like I'm the one who's not acceptable? Why do I feel like I'm the one who's the problem in every room? Why do I feel like I'm the reason this person is having a bad day or doesn't like something about whatever? Something deeper than that. It's really about you. Okay, it's not just about what other people are feeling and everything else, because yeah, you can influence that to some degree, but everyone can influence that to some degree on everyone else. So realize your power to influence others is somewhat neutralized by other people's power to influence them as well. So that's got to be a factor that's mostly taken off the table for the most part. I would focus on how you see yourself and why you have to constantly judge yourself to feel like you have to keep proving that you're not a bad person, that you're worthwhile as a friend, that, you know, maybe someone might be talking good about you instead of bad about you. Why do you have to always go negative all the time? So really look into yourself and ask yourself what the underlying cause is. Was there some type of incident in your past that you're still feeling guilty about, that you need to reconcile within your soul? Is there something that happened to you that makes you feel less than what you should be? How can you find a way to reconcile that? How can you find a way to make amends and overcome that feeling and that sense of who you are, so that you're no longer resorting back to that and feeling like everything that happens in the world is a result of you being less than what you should be? Instead, reconcile that within yourself. Make peace with who you are. Earn your self-respect. The way you earn your self-respect is by obtaining a set of values or goals that you want to achieve for yourself, virtues that you want to live up to, and then systematically writing down or just going out and doing those things and making sure you witness yourself achieving these values. Be a witness to yourself so that you can affirm your own character and have the inner peace that no one else can give you but yourself, and no one else can take from you except when you give it to them. Play that back, because I think I said it right that time. You really want to focus on yourself, building yourself up, feeling at peace with who you are, not becoming this frail, helpless victim all the time that's just open for criticism and open to be destroyed. People should be able to come to you with criticism and not feel like they're going to cut you down. They should feel like you're able to take it because you're grown up now. And you understand that it's not always personal. Sometimes people have a problem with you because they want you to solve it so they can get on and maintain your friendship. Sometimes they don't want your friendship anymore. It doesn't really matter. You have to focus on who you are. You have to focus on what you're doing with your life, how you're growing as a person, how you're maturing, how you're evolving spiritually, in all other aspects as well. And don't allow the negativity of others in the situation that you might be in to affect who you are. So you really need to check yourself to see what is causing this guilt trip. Because once you come over that problem within yourself, the way you receive others will be different as well. And the last point, and the one that I seem to always revert back to in so many videos that I've been making on this channel, is set some goals for yourself that are meaningful to you. Something that you like to do in the world, that you want to have an impact on, that you find is really true to your character, and also that you have a talent for and a desire to be better at. And then just focus on doing those things. It'll keep your mind off all these petty trivialities, all these little he said, she said nonsense and drama and gossip and all that nonsense. You don't want to be a part of that mess. You want to focus your life more productively. You want to focus on goals that give your life meaning, fulfill some emptiness inside, and give yourself a sense of victory in the world. So I suggest you do that. And other than that, I hope I really helped you here. I think I have some good advice. Play the video back a couple more times and take some notes and think about what I said. And if anyone else wants to send a question, it's AskPolymathGeddy@gmail.com. Submit me your name, your location, and your question in a brief paragraph. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, like and comment the videos. Click that little bell somewhere on the YouTube fixture so that you can get notifications, because YouTube likes to censor its users. And not everyone who subscribes will be getting my videos in their feed, so I may post like 10 videos and you might not even know it. So please do subscribe and click that bell. And if you want to find me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Geddy Friedman, Polymath, and Renaissance Man. If you want to find me on Instagram, I kind of changed my name a bit on there. You can either find me as PolymathG, as Geddy Friedman, my name, or as Renaissance Master. Basically, just look me up by my name and you'll find me somehow. It'll work. I'm pretty sure of that. Anyway, thanks for the question, and thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing this video. And I'll be back with more answers to more questions. Your polymathic source, we'll be back. Thank you.